Hello and welcome to the news at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities across Scotland tonight. MSP Colin Smith's parliamentary pass is revoked after he allegedly placed a camera in a toilet at the Scottish Parliament. We will speak to the journalist who broke the story. Also tonight, the Scottish Government announces chickenpox vaccines for all children from next year. And Scottish teachers vote in favour of strike action. We will hear from their union leader. Of course, we will have all the sport with Lewis. What have you got for us tonight, Lewis?
Well, Amy, it is a huge weekend, particularly after a gruelling week as Rangers host Celtic in the first Old Firm derby of the season, and Scottish clubs have discovered who they'll play in Europe too.
Lots to look ahead to. Hello, I am Amy Irons and welcome to the news at 7. An MSP has denied hiding a secret camera in a toilet at the Scottish Parliament after being barred from entering the building. Colin Smith was suspended by Labour earlier this month over a separate charge of possessing indecent images of children. Smith criticised Police Scotland for releasing details of its investigation and said it had forced him to leave his home to protect his family. Paul Hutchin is the political editor at the Daily Record and broke the story. He says Holyrood authorities have questions to answer over how long it took them to suspend Smith's access to Parliament.
Police are saying that on August 5th this year, Colin Smith, who was elected as a Labour MSP, was now sitting as an independent, was charged in relation to the possession of indecent images. The story that we broke last night is that there is a further charge relating to a hidden camera in a Scottish Parliament toilet. So it's multiple charges. Mr Smith denies the allegations, but that's where we're at just now.
Serious allegations, Paul. What do we know about just the location of the toilets and who was likely to be using them?
So the police and the Parliament haven't provided that level of information. There's a suggestion that the toilet in question might be close to the debating chamber in the Scottish Parliament. If that's the case, then it would be a toilet that's used by MSPs across the political divide from Labour to the SNP, Lib Dems and the Tories, but that information hasn't been confirmed yet, and it'd probably be unwise to go into more detail on that. But there's no doubt that the story that we published yesterday, people are concerned about it, they're distressed about it because that's their workplace, that's where they earn a living, and to hear a suggestion that there was a hidden camera in a toilet has caused a lot of anxiety.
And Paul, tell us, what has the Scottish Parliament said? Because I believe a full sweep has been done of the building, police have been brought in. What has the Parliament said about that?
So what they said was that police were in the Parliament this week, a full sweep of the toilets and other restroom areas carried out in the Scottish Parliament building, and in a pretty carefully worded statement they said that no hidden device was found. Now, that doesn't mean to say that there couldn't have been a device at some point earlier this year, but certainly in the here and now, in terms of this week, they said that no device was found. And I think that was an attempt to reassure the users of the Scottish Parliament that currently the bathrooms are safe and secure.
Paul, how unusual is it for a Scottish Parliament pass, to be revoked in the way it has been so immediately for Colin Smith?
It's extremely unusual, but the Scottish Parliament is facing quite serious questions over that, because Mr Smith was charged on August the 5th, and it took the Scottish Parliament over 2 weeks to eventually deactivate his parliamentary pass. And I know that there are some MSPs who believe that should have been done a lot quicker. So although the focus is on the allegations and how this case will eventually pan out, I do think that there are questions that the Holyrood authorities are facing, and I would expect further information to come from the Scottish Parliament in the next couple of days.
Paul Hutchin, political editor at the Daily Record, thank you very much for your time in the programme. 3 teenagers have been killed in a car crash on the A830 road between Loch Lords and Arrasig in the Highlands. The accident happened last night at around 11:15. Our reporter Andrew Thompson sent this report.
This is a busy route. It's known as the Road to the Isles and it connects Fort William with Mallaig. Last night it was closed for about 12 hours following this serious accident involving a white Ford Fiesta. Within the last hour, the police have confirmed that 3 people died in the crash. They say that formal identification is yet to take place, but they believe all the occupants of the vehicle were male and in their mid-teens. Now, the local secondary school, Lochaber High, has posted a message online saying that they're deeply saddened by this tragedy and their thoughts go out to everyone involved. Police Scotland, meanwhile, say that their inquiries into this crash are ongoing. Andrew Thompson, reporting Scotland, near Arrasig.
Thanks for joining us on tonight's News at 7. We have more to come for you in the programme, including the Scottish Government says they will follow other parts of the UK and introduce a chickenpox vaccine. And ahead of the first Old Firm of the season, we will hear from our chief sports writer Tom English about the pressure on both clubs. The Scottish Green Party has 2 new leaders. Ross Greer and Gillian Mackay will replace Patrick Harvey, who did not seek re-election, and Lorna Slater, who was narrowly defeated in the contest. It means Greer is now the youngest leader of a party at Holyrood since devolution. Mackay is best known for successfully spearheading the bill creating buffer zones at abortion clinics. Here's what the new duo had to say today.
I've said throughout my campaign that we need to speak to those communities who feel ignored. That means being visible in post-industrial, rural and industrial towns and cities across Scotland and talking to them plainly about how green politics can make their lives better.
People across the country are angry right now. We won't deny that and we won't dismiss that. And it's because this country isn't working for them. We need to fix that. The cost of living crisis and the climate crisis are biting hard.
A doctor has been arrested over claims he posted abusive tweets about his son's rape victim, the BBC has learned. Dr Andrew McFarlane, a GP in the Highlands, was taken into custody on Wednesday, charged with communications offences. Our reporter Gillian Sharp explains the development.
In 2022, Andrew McFarlane's son Daniel was convicted of raping Ellie Wilson and sentenced to 5 years in prison. At that time, he was a medical student at the University of Glasgow. Ms Wilson has since become a campaigner for survivors of male sexual violence.
So what has happened now then? Bring us right up to date with what has happened with Dr McFarlane.
Well, Police Scotland say that a 61-year-old man has been arrested and charged with communications offences and released to appear in court at a later date. Now, Dr McFarlane was reported to the General Medical Council for his social media comments earlier this year, when he'd claimed that his son was the victim of a miscarriage of justice, calling Ms Wilson a liar and claiming she blackmailed and abused his son. Ms Wilson previously told the BBC that her heart sank when she first read his remarks online.
Gillian Sharp, thank you very much. Let's get a roundup of just some of the stories you can find on the BBC News app in Scotland today then. And a murder inquiry has been launched after the death of a man in Lanark. 30-year-old Scott Boyd was pronounced dead at the scene in Kirkmuir Hill in the early hours of Wednesday. Police are investigating a hate crime incident at a Scottish League 2 match between Elgin City and Edinburgh City. Officers said a supporter approached a player from the sidelines during the game. About 200 homes and businesses in Berwickshire and the South Scottish borders are without water for a 4th day. Faults at a treatment works near Duns have been identified by Scottish Water. And indie rockers Wet Leg will ring in the bells at Edinburgh's Hogmanay celebrations this year. They'll be joined by Scottish support acts Hamish Hawk and Lucia and the Best Boys. Well, for more information on all these stories, you can scan that QR code on your screen now and take you straight to the BBC Scotland News app. There is plenty more for you there. Now, earlier today it was announced that all children in England, Wales and Northern Ireland would receive a free chickenpox vaccine. And this afternoon, Scotland's Health Secretary Neil Gray announced that children here will also get the free jab. Whilst it doesn't prevent infection, it does reduce the severity of infections. And the vaccine is also intended to reduce the amount of time parents need to take off work to look after sick children. Well, joining us on the programme now, we have Dr. Chris Williams from the Royal College of GPs in Scotland. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Dr. Williams. Do we really need a chickenpox vaccine? What do you think about this?
The evidence is stacking up that it's something that is of value, that it will benefit the people that contract chickenpox, that will benefit the people that look after them. The vaccine itself is not new. So the vaccine's been available since the 1990s and it's been used in other countries. It's been available in the UK as a private prescription through pharmacies. So you can get 2 doses for somewhere between 150 and 200 pounds. And previously, there had been consideration about whether that was something that should be given on the NHS, made available, offered to parents. And previously, they couldn't see the value, the people that were looking to decide whether we should have it. But those calculations have changed over time. There's been much better understanding of how many people are going into hospital because of chickenpox and for how long.
And Dr. Williams, there's a long tradition of people just allowing their children to catch the virus. We've been talking in the office today, people saying chickenpox parties. You know, you would hear people mentioning that. Is that irresponsible? Is that common?
I think that reflects how our society deals with an illness where you're almost certain to catch it. We know when we've seen blood tests of the population that 90% of people have it by the age of 15. Once you have got the virus, that's in your body for life. So the chickenpox parties, I think, has been a societal response to make sure that children don't pick it up at a later age when the symptoms may be more severe. And of course, I fully expect an available vaccine on the NHS to change that culture, to change that outlook. Yeah,
Dr. Williams, can some children who get it just end up with much more severe symptoms? Is that something that gets worse with age?
There are some people that will get it that will not notice symptoms at all. Most will notice a high temperature and will notice a characteristic itchy rash that develops blisters at some time. And there are some unfortunate people that will go on to develop complications that will get secondary infection, where the barrier of the skin has been disrupted and they become ill because infection gets in, or that they get sepsis. There can be brain injuries from this viral infection. So I think now that we understand that there is an approach that we can take to minimise the harm, I think it's really important to promote the benefits of the vaccine.
Well, Dr. Chris Williams, thank you so much for joining us on the programme and talking us through those benefits. Thanks. Teachers have voted for strike action in a ballot conducted by the EIS union with 83% in favour. The vote shows their willingness to take action over workload issues. 4 years ago, the SNP promised to reduce teacher contact time by 90 minutes a week in their manifesto, but that change has not been made yet. Before we came on air, I asked Andrea Bailey, the union's General Secretary, what's behind this move towards the strike action.
So this was a ballot of around 50,000 teachers who are our members, and it was focused on workload, which has been a long-standing issue for teachers in Scotland. 83% of those who voted in favour of strike action, and 92% voted in favour of action short of strike. So a really strong message to the Scottish Government and COSLA that at long last there has to be tangible progress on the commitments that have been made to Scotland's teachers to alleviate intolerable levels of workload.
So you see, Andrea, this is about workload, the amount of time that teachers are spending time teaching, when the Scottish Government, they had pledged to reduce the amount of class contact time by an hour and a half a week in their last manifesto. Why is it so important, that 1.5 hours, that we get to that point? Because it doesn't sound like much, does it? But it's what teachers are then having to do out with the class time.
Absolutely. Teachers spend a big portion of their working time preparing learning, teaching and assessment for all the groups of young people that they teach. And what various survey data that we have and independent research that we have commissioned has shown is that teachers are spending a huge amount of their own personal time overtaking that work because there is just insufficient number of hours within the working week to allow them to focus properly on those tasks. And that means that teachers are spending a lot of time at home in the evenings and at weekends and even during holiday time to the detriment of their well-being, and it's something that they've been crying out for the EIS and partners to work on and to finally do something tangible about for a very long time now. And the manifesto commitment was made 4 years ago, and 4 years down the line teachers are still waiting for a real concrete plan of action as to how that manifesto commitment is going to be implemented. And really that's what this ballot was about. It was a strong expression of the frustration and the anger and actually to some extent the despair of teachers about the fact that nothing tangible has been done to make matters any better for them in respect of workload, the workload that they struggle with daily, weekly, termly, and is actually driving many of our teachers to either consider leaving the profession early or actually to leave the profession early. It's not a good look for the teaching profession to have teachers so overworked as they are and have been for a long time now.
So could we see strike action soon, do you think, Andrea?
It's not out of the question. There's been a very recent development in terms of the negotiations. We were made a proposal last week by the Scottish Government to properly resume negotiations on the implementation of the manifesto commitment within our SNCT, that's our collective bargaining processes, and the EIS has agreed, along with the other teacher trade unions, to enter into those negotiations in good faith. But we really have to see swift and focused and very, very committed progress within those negotiations. Otherwise, the EIS will be left with no option but to move to a statutory ballot of members, and that will be a step closer towards industrial action. And of course, we don't want to see that. We want to see the manifesto commitment implemented on a negotiated basis. We don't want teachers to be out on strike. We don't want teachers to have to undertake action short of strike. But 4 years down the line, they have been left with no option, arguably, and unless we see progress within that negotiating forum, then that's the move that we will have to make on their behalf.
Andrea Bailey, thank you very much. I know with the talks ongoing, we will no doubt be back in touch with you to find out just exactly how they are progressing. Thank you very much for joining us on the programme.
Thank you.
Well, in response to the strike ballot result, the Scottish Government said we remain committed to working with the teachers' unions and COSLA through the Scottish Negotiating Committee for Teachers to agree our approach to delivering a reduction in class contact time for teachers. Still to come, we will see how the weather is looking this weekend with Kirstine and meet the three brothers rowing across the Pacific Ocean. But before all of that, it is sport time with Lewis. And Lewis, there's always a lot riding on an Old Firm derby, but it's the pressure's really mounting for the first one of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, Amy, it's unlike one we've seen in a long time indeed. Good evening there. We'll get to the Old Firm shortly, but first and foremost, it's been a busy day of European draws, meaning Rangers and Celtic now know their list of Europa League opponents, and Aberdeen know the teams that they'll face in the Conference League. Let's start with Rangers, who were seeded in Pot 1. Roma, Braga and Ludogorets and Genk will all come to Ibrox with away trips in there to Porto, Ferencvaros, Sturm Graz and Norwegian side Brann. On to Celtic now. They were in Pot 2 and like Rangers they will also host Roma and Braga at home, as well as taking on Sturm Graz as well. Utrecht is the other home game for Brendan Rodgers' side. In terms of away trips for Celtic fans, Feyenoord, Red Star Belgrade, Midtjylland and look at that one there, Lewis Ferguson's Bologna, all to look forward to in there. As for Aberdeen in the Conference League, well, they face Shakhtar Donetsk at Pataudry along with Strasbourg and Armenian side Noah as well, while facing trips to Sparta Prague, AEK Athens and Larnaca. Fixture dates are not yet confirmed. They will be revealed over the weekend. Well, before all of those European games get underway next month, there is the matter of the first Old Firm derby of the season this Sunday. Russell Martin and Brendan Rodgers locking horns for the first time as Rangers and Celtic bosses. Earlier I chatted to our chief sports writer Tom English and I started by asking him if he could recall the last time there was such negativity surrounding both clubs heading into an Old Firm.
It's got to be a long time. Is it as far back as the Alex Ferguson era at Aberdeen? I don't know. but it does seem like an age when both sets of fans were in fury the way they are right now.
Yeah, it is quite something, and we'll start with Rangers, Tom, because you were at the press conference today. Russell Martin keeps talking about having the backing of the people that he needs to have the backing of, the powers that be. What do you sense in terms of the mood at Ibrox just now?
Well, the mood of the manager is resolute. He seems to think he can turn it around. The mood of the owners would appear to be similar. Andrew Kavanagh, the owner and chairman, is going to be in Glasgow tomorrow. He's going to be in Glasgow on Sunday for the game. Russell Martin is convinced he has his backing. The mood of the fans is altogether different, isn't it? I mean, I struggle to remember a manager, a Rangers manager, that has caused such angst and indignation and bitterness and rancour amongst Rangers fans. It's remarkable.
Yeah, and on Celtic's side of things, Tom, it's slightly different, isn't it? Certainly not quite the same pressure on Brendan Rodgers, it seems, at the moment. Lose on Sunday, though, and that could shift. How do you sense the mood being at Celtic Park just now?
I think Celtic fans are disappointed in Rodgers, disappointed in the way his team played, but their ire, I think, is focused far more on the board. Far, far more on the board. Business not being done. Business is being done now, but Champions League is gone. So it's a bit late in the day. So there's anger there, but it's directed in a different place.
You touched on the transfer window as well. That's obviously going to be crucial for both sides in what remains of the window. There has been some business, of course, that the clubs have done, but how important is it that they add and they strengthen? Because the Europa League that they're both in is still so competitive.
Totally, and the draws, I mean, they're playing a lot of stellar teams. There are two different words there, add and strengthen.
Yeah.
Both need to add, but both need to strengthen. I mean, if both clubs have added players that aren't up to it, they're no good. They need to strengthen not just the squads, but the starting lineups, particularly the starting lineups.
Tom English talking with me there, and you can read more looking ahead to that Old Firm match on the BBC Sport website. Now, to rugby, and Scotland hooker Ellis Martin says they'll treat every World Cup match the same as their opener against Wales as they prepare to take on Fiji tomorrow. Confidence is high in the squad after that impressive win, but they're not getting carried away as they look to get through to the quarterfinals for the first time since 2002.
Obviously, Wales, Scotland is, I think, years ago we called it the grudge match, and that stuck quite well. But actually, we've got just the same amount of emotion and just the same amount of energy going into this game. Realistically, every single game now, until hopefully the latter stages, is going to carry on being that. So, keeping that emotion the same, keeping the clarity and the calmness and the readiness, as I said before, is going to be the biggest thing to put on a performance. And I think we are ready to do that, which is exciting.
And before I go, Amy, it's worth mentioning, if anyone's up for an all-nighter tonight, you might as well stay up and watch Cameron Norrie take on Novak Djokovic in the US Open. It is at midnight it starts, though.
Oh, that's early. That's early when we're talking about Friday night.
Thanks
very much. Thank you. Now, a family of show people who have lived in Glasgow's Govan area for more than 40 years are facing eviction to make way for a multi-million-pound regeneration plan. Glasgow City Council say the Stringfellows have no right to occupy the land. Lawyers acting for the family say their 5-year-old granddaughter's rights have not been taken into account. Our social affairs correspondent Chris Clement reports.
And how old are you?
I'm 39.
You've had a hard life, eh?
We're visiting Jimmy Stringfellow. So how long have you stayed in the site?
43, 44 years.
And so did you put all of these up yourself, or?
There was nothing on this. This was a dump. It was a coop. You know what a coop is, don't you?
I know what a coop is, aye.
Aye, well, it was a coop.
Jimmy's a well-kent figure in Govan, a retired showman in the legal battle of his life. Next week, Jimmy and his family will face off against a council looking to evict him from this land by the Clyde, where they say they've lived since the 80s. It's not the first time he says he's faced off against the powers that be.
Well, you've heard of Robin Hood. I've had more sheriffs than Robin Hood. Every case we went to, we won it. Or it was a draw. It's the way the system is. They don't like me. Okay? They don't like me. Because I stand up to them. And I'm not frightened of the fictitious authority. Go away. Come back when you're older.
Govan is getting a revamp. New flats, new bridge, new waterfront. But tucked away in the land is Jimmy's yard. Once again, the family are threatened with eviction, and they're going all the way to the Court of Session to defend against it. 8 people live in the yard, including Jimmy's granddaughter.
Kaya early have you juices because she likes juice.
Her mother Chanel has lived here almost all her life.
She doesn't really understand what's going on because she's young, but she knows something's. She knows people's trying to take her out of her yard, out of her home. So I've had to sit her down. I've had to explain to her that what is happening, but in a way that she can understand it and not worry about it. I try to do with her what my parents done with me.
The legal team will argue that by evicting the girl, the council will be breaching her right to a secure home.
It's our home, it's my memories. It's like you getting put out your family home where you was born. I mean, you can win as many cases as you like, but you only need to lose one.
The council say the Stringfellows have no right to occupy the land and has raised a legal action as a last resort. It says it would be inappropriate to comment further before the case begins. It'll start next Tuesday, is expected to last 2 weeks before a judgment later in the year. Chris Clements, reporting Scotland, Govan.
It's going to be one to watch, isn't it? Let's see how the weather is looking for the weekend ahead with Kirstine. I was going to say some lovely pictures apart from this, chucking it down in some places.
The kind of day where 1 minute you have lovely sunshine and the next you have some whoppers of showers, and that is a great example of these. But as I say, some sunshine across parts of eastern Scotland and in the north too, but certainly it has been quite a changeable day of weather and we have had plenty of showers around. Thanks, Amy. So today we've had low pressure overhead, and we have another area of low pressure hot on its heels moving in tomorrow off the Atlantic, bringing strengthening winds and heavy outbreaks of rain. And that area of low pressure is going nowhere fast Sunday and into the beginning of next week, maintaining these unsettled, changeable conditions. But looking ahead to tomorrow morning, we start with a lot of dry, bright weather, just a few showers ahead of that band of rain moving into the southwest. But tomorrow afternoon, that rain will not affect all parts. Brightening up across Shetland after some rain here in the morning. Some sunshine for Orkney too, parts of Sutherland, Caithness, the Murray Coast and North Aberdeenshire, 19 or 20 Celsius at best. But for much of western, central and southern Scotland, it's a wet afternoon, persistent heavy outbreaks of rain at times and strong winds, especially along western coasts. That rain marches its way northeastwards tomorrow night, gradually becoming confined to Shetland. So the extended outlook, and it's all about this area of low pressure, as I say, which is going to remain anchored to the west, and it'll maintain unsettled conditions, showers or longer spells of rain. But much the same as Saturday, Sunday starts with a lot of dry weather before the showers get going. Thundery at times, merging to give longer spells of rain, and it'll stay blustery, but some sunshine in between the showers, especially in the east. For Monday, and again, it's a showery day of weather, perhaps the odd rumble of thunder, blustery winds affecting western coasts again. And looking ahead further into next week, low pressure will continue to dominate proceedings across the UK. Showers, longer spells of rain. In Scotland, I think especially across the northwest on Tuesday, but winds becoming a little lighter. And the outlook, as I say, I've said it a few times tonight already, some sunshine and also some heavy showers. That's the forecast. Back to you, Amy.
A mix of everything, Kirsten.
Yes.
You did promise us that. Thank you so much. Now, just before we go, 3 brothers attempting a record row across the Pacific Ocean are due to finish their epic voyage overnight. Edinburgh's Ewan, Jamie and Lachlan McLean are hoping to complete the fastest ever non-stop unsupported row from Peru to Sydney in Australia, a distance of 9,000 miles. The Scots have received lots of messages of support from Hollywood actors to residents of the care home where their gran used to stay.
Fascination, admiration. I'm lucky to have existed to this age, to have actually seen this happen, and with people I've had the greatest fortune to know very well.
We've been rowing hard to get across the current. We're over it now. We're through the Great Barrier Reef. We truly are onto the home straight and due to arrive tomorrow, which is very, very surreal.
Oh, and well done to the boys, almost finished. That is all on Friday's News at 7. Thank you very much for being with us. Have a brilliant weekend. Bye-bye.